I invite the one and only Mr. Deepak Parikh, who doesn't actually require introduction, but he's going to take it for the next session. Deepak, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Aista, for inviting me to speak at such a nice gathering. So Suitsa were talking about the balance sheet. Today I'll be covering a topic which would be related to the data. But interesting fact is that we have to understand that government also want to manipulate markets. So the data, generally they know exactly what the ground situation is. So once they see that actually the pulses price is going high, suddenly you find that the sowing of pulses increases on papers. Then in the next estimate, it is rectified. And when they see that the price is crashing, then they say that there is a shortage. So that the price go up and suddenly you'll find that lentil or masoor, right? It picks up the price because government do that. So that's fine. I believe end of the day, those who are in field of analysis, who are the researchers, they have to find a concept which I've created long back when I was speaking at Davos. I call it proxy data. So sometimes you don't have the exact data, but then actually use other data and then come to the conclusion that what is the data you want can be achieved. And researchers call that correlation. But now I'll be talking about data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence. These are the technology which will make world more transparent as far as the data is concerned. Can we have the presentation, please? Now today this topic is very important. So we'll be talking about estimation. So generally when we talk about the yields, that is the fundamental starting point where a lot of things happen. Whether you are a farmer, whether you are a government, whether you are agribusinesses, lot depends on the first step itself, which we call typically accurate yield estimation. So when we see that the crop management itself, what advisory should be given, until unless you know what's happening exactly on the ground, we end up giving 200 kg of urea per hectare dal do, right? We don't even know exactly what the soil chemistry is, what is the biology of that soil. And then we just give advisory. So it's very important that actually we analyze holistically with right sort of data. Similarly, it comes to the economic planning. The sugar mills, right? What they'll be crushing, how much they'll be crushing, what will be the transportation, what is the storage. Until unless you don't get the right yield estimates, you are always in assumptions. Maybe 5% more than last year. But I think that doesn't solve the purpose because again, you are not precise in making policy decisions as far as the organizations are concerned. Then the policy making itself. See, government went into the knee-jerk reaction last year, banning everything related to sugar, right? No export, no diversion to ethanol, because they were panicking that the production would be very low. But we found that actually production was not that low as what government estimated. And that led to the wrong policies. Now, once the policy is there, if they roll back, understanding their own mistake, we people will say that again knee-jerk reaction. Why they have changed it? They are changing actually every 7 days. So this is where actually government is also stuck. When they get the wrong data, they end up making wrong policies. Then come to the market dynamics. We all sitting in this room actually might be connected with commodities market. How do we arrive at what price to enter in? What price to source in? Until unless you don't have right estimate. For example, we talked about tuar, right? The government number started with 4 million metric ton, went to 3.4, industry saying 2.7. So that is a variance. Until and unless you don't have the right numbers, that what is the production, how you'll say that, somebody said that 120 के अंदर तुअर 2 महीने पहले सस्ती लग रही थी, अब 105 में महंगी लग रही है, right? So this is what, until unless you don't have the right estimate, you'll never be able to come to a price point where you want to enter or exit. Then there is definitely environmental sustainability. We talk about sustainability and a lot of people say that sugarcane is a water guzzling crop, same is with the rice. But end of the day, until unless you don't have the right numbers, how do you sacrifice the productivity to save environment? You are always scared because Tamak ji se kal baat ho rahi thi, we have reached to the level of 200 plus metric ton of production per hectare in sugarcane. Now those things can be replicated other place until unless we have right data, we won't do it because then you only do the calculation of pros and cons. So that's, I think, how many of you believe that yield estimation, accurate yield estimation is important for the industry? Can you raise your hands? So I still say only 70% of people. Sir, bina data trade mat kijiyega, nuksan ho jayega. So now, let us understand how we are doing it today. Today it is all driven through field surveys. Now the problem with the field survey is, it is costly affair. Cost in the sense, one time to kar lenge. If I have to do every 15 days, it will be prohibitive. Nobody will do that. So I only do it once, and I'll do it at the time I believe is the best time. But because of climate change, the crop and the cycles being long for sugarcane, there are a lot of changes which happens. Then you are having biases. I have been a CEO of a company who was doing these type of surveys, and I've seen sometime in some area, number change in ho raha hai. And we found that actually it is all driven by human beings. So he'll send someone, do the geolocation, farmer se baat bhi nahi ki, location dal diya, sir usse to bola achhi crop dikh rahi hai. So these type of things are all because end of the day human beings given a chance sometimes cheats. So that is the bias of the human beings. But yes, I would say that still doing something is better than doing nothing. But now the technology is advanced enough. We are having remote sensing, which can do a lot of things. And the best part of remote sensing is that it is highly accurate. Previously, people used to say that actually when I'm doing it through remote sensing, I'm getting 70% accuracy. Now, when we talk remote sensing, we're talking accuracy. When we are doing human way, we say it is 100% accurate by default. That's not true. So here it is very important that the digital methods gives more accuracy, efficiency. Now I can do actually on real-time basis. Every 7 days I can give you a report that what's happening on the field. Every 7 days I can rectify and tell you that what would be the predictive yields. Then it's scalability. Now if I'm having the phenotype and typically ground signatures and some ground truthing in an area, I can cover whole of state, I can cover whole of country, I can cover whole of continent straight away. Humanly, when you want to do survey across India, it's a nightmare. So you always do a small sample surveys and then you extrapolate that data. Then the new AI and ML technologies, when they are deployed, and believe me, some of those models, they have been already championed, and they're beautiful models which give you very high amount of accuracy. And you can do predictive analytics and you can say that actually what's going to happen in next 3 months, 4 months, 6 months down the line, not just today. So that's the beauty of using digital technologies. Now this is a machine which does soil testing in 15 minutes. Now, reason of showing this is that this is what has happened already. And unfortunately, in India, we are lagging in adopting of technology. Digital transformation can increase yield by more than 20%. That's a proven reality. Digital transformation, predictive analytics can give you price prediction. In fact, we are working on an algorithm where we have found that we are able to predict price with accuracy of 83% of multiple commodities. That will help you taking right trading decision. That will help you ensuring that when the government make policy, they can forecast that actually after 6 months or in Diwali time, what will be the price of tuar, of chana, or of wheat, and then they can take corrective decision before it. So rather than doing post-mortem, we can actually see the future and then decide based on that future. And the last part, we can also earn a lot of carbon credits if we are using that data to prove that actually we have been able to save the release of carbon in the environment. Now, these are some of the tools which are being used when we talk about typically yield estimation. So satellite imagery is one area which most of you might be aware that actually now they're using typically different spectrums, different type of sensors. We are able to find actually what's even below the soil using satellites. That's the capability which we are having today. Then drones. Now, when you want to actually do the ground truthing with human beings, that's a little bit difficult. Now, drones can even use to do the ground truthing. That makes life still more easier, more efficient. And last, LiDAR, which actually give you the complete topography. You can completely see exactly what's happening. One of the challenge with sugarcane crop is that actually it's very difficult to enter the field. Now, if something infestation has happened somewhere, visual inspection in other crop is possible. In sugarcane, it is not possible. And this is where these type of technology can play a very vital role, because using thermal sensors, you'll be able to find where the infestation is happening, because there is always a heat signature of a specific type of pest. In fact, you can identify which pest would be there in the crop in the middle of your farm. So all those type of remote sensing technologies are available and are being used. Now, remote sensing was one part of it. Remote sensing became more powerful because of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Why it became more powerful? Because previously, if I'm having an image, to analyze it, now many of you might be on Facebook. Once you put a photograph along with your friend, suddenly it will say, would you like to tag this person because it seems like Tamakji is there, right? So that is a possibility where the computer vision can analyze different type of images, and based on those images, it is able to give you a lot of insight. There are also the detection of anomaly, as I was saying, that we are having signatures of different type of pests. So by just seeing a geospatial image, we would be able to identify which part of the specific farm would be having any sort of infestation and what would be its impact on the yield itself. Will the yield is going to go down, and what can be the remedial action which needs to be taken, or spraying specific type of pesticide, or if there is a nutrient deficiency, then applying the right sort of fertilizers. So all those things are possible. And in the last, you'll see that there's some of the models. So like, there is a model which is known as convolutional neural network. It is one of the finest model which gives you humongous amount of accuracy. So any image which is coming from drones or satellite can be processed, and based on that, you can come with a lot of insight which are useful, whether it is about the health of the crop, whether it is about actually identification of the farm boundaries. So all those things are possible. Now this is where actually like, these are the real cases, right? What I've talked so far, it is not something of sci-fi that is going to happen in future. It's already happening. So I'm associated with multiple companies which actually I advise on what models to use, what type of data needs to be collected, and then actually like, help whether it's the mills or it is the technology companies to fine-tune their models. So here you see the farm boundary detection. This is 2 years back, right? Where when you used to use satellite data, there used to be overlap. Right, the boundaries were very difficult to identify. Using CNN, we were able to get to the level where actually the accuracy was 99.8% of the boundaries detection. Now, physically, previously used to go like, for the accuracy, a person will go, then he'll do the geofencing, right? Very costly exercise, just to start the initial experiment itself. Now, using machine learning models, you are able to actually like, pinpoint the fields and put it across in a very, I'll say that, precise manner. The next is actually, once you have identified the field, right, then you need to do the acreage, because acreage is the starting point. How much of the seeding has happened, how much it is growing, and how much it is in a state where actually it stopped growing, because farmers also do that, right? They change the crop middle of the season. If they find that actually suddenly the prices crash for a commodity, this is too costly, let me go to some other crop. So they do that. Unfortunately, in the current way, once we have done the field survey, we believe that actually till the end of the crop, that crop will stand there. It doesn't happen all the time. And it has happened in palm, in Northeast, right? We were believing that actually like, for 3 years, you'll be having this beautiful palm trees and then we'll be having palm oil. But farmers, after 3 or 4 months, they found that actually like, it is not economically viable for me. They removed that crop. But in the government data, right, still that the palm is growing. So here actually like, acreage estimation. So here you can see that like, we can go to the very minute level. If we have the phenotype, different phenotypes of that specific geography, we can actually segregate the different crops. So on the right side, you can see that sugarcane, what is the plant stage, what is at the ratoon stage, what is the paddy. So typically like, it will give you acreage which is very precise. Here actually like, you are looking at 93% accuracy. I would not say like, more than that, but 93% we have been able to achieve. On average, it is between 80 to 90%. But yes, 93% is possible if you do first year a good amount of ground truthing. So first year you invest, after that actually like, reap the fruit. So it is a perennial tree which gives you mango every year at the right season. Then actually go to the next stage, which is yield estimation. Now, yield estimation is having multiple parts of it. It needs to understand what is the weather parameters. It needs to understand actually what is the health of your specific crop. It also needs to understand actually what is the vegetative indexes. So using again satellite and drone, we are having multiple type of indices which are able to tell us actually what is the health, right? How much it is growing. Is it growing at the right way or not? And then you have to actually like, extrapolate it with the crop cycle itself of that variety. And then you come to conclusion that actually what could be the possible yields. And again, this is not typically a simple simulation. Generally in the field surveys, what you do is that you have a sample data and then based on that you say that, okay, fine, if this is the acreage, then this would be the yield. Here actually you are doing every field is mapped and every field will give you what is the yield of that field and then you add it up. So it is very scientific that like, you are actually getting the right data rather than just an assumption. Then comes to like, the stage identification. Now this is also something which is very important for sugarcane industry. Generally farmers are not always in survey upfront telling when they have sown it, because they want actually a specific window when they want to take it to the mill. So they manipulate the dates. So instead of, in case March, they'll say that is around January mein laga diya tha. Or for example, like, April mein laga diya tha. So they do that. Here actually we are able to also, if you can see that, identify what is actually the accurate date of sowing itself. It is plus minus 7 days. So once you have that, you can, the physical number which he present to a mill, you can find out whether he is lying or whether he is right. And then you can plan about giving the purchase when he should come to your factory for depositing his sugarcane. So this is again very important also when we talk about the yield estimation, because the sowing date will also give you, rather than just annually or in 3 months what would be the output of the sugarcane, it will give you every week how much sugarcane can be expected from a specific location. So that is a level of accuracy which generally you don't get in the physical surveys. And then the crop health detection. Now, I would say that it is definitely useful for estimate, but it is also useful when you want to give service to your own farmers. You can give free of cost service to a farmer saying that, boss, it seems like this red means there is a serious challenge in your crop. Now, what could be the remedial action? You can send an agronomist, find what is the problem, and then advise the farmer. So without adding too much of cost, while just doing your estimation, you'll be also able to help farmer by giving them the right sort of advisory. Now, these are some of the platforms which we work with. So on the left, I know the resolution is a little bit weird here. We start with this Mitti Ki report, right? So the first stage is you have the information about the soil itself. What is the condition of the soil, what type of soil it is, what are the chemical composition of that soil. It starts from there. Then you are having typically the models where you are able to monitor every farm on a daily basis if you want to, and also come with the total estimated yields, right? Depending on the accuracy you want, because when you have to run all these models, it needs huge amount of computational power, which cost. So I generally believe fortnightly reviews are the best, and every 15 days you will be able to understand that what you are expecting at the end of the season actually, when you are the crushing. So this is with that, I would say that then growing healthy together, transforming agri-food system for a better world. I believe estimation is most important, data is very important, and all of us should invest in future of India by investing in the data infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deepak.